Good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 61 on this Monday morning, wherever you may be around Australia. Well, today we're going to be talking about the best of Out and About and some of the shows we've done on Out and About. Now, usually we would have a recap of what we've done on the previous episode, but we're not going to. So we're going to be presenting for you today a selection of Out and About clips that Mark and I have presented for you, and also today's show. Now, just going back over some of the topics we've talked about on Out and About, and that is being really polite and respectful. And joining me now in the studio, it's a very good morning to Mark English.
Good morning, Barry. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to episode 61.
And the importance of behaving well on the phone is really important. Here's Mark to reenact on that and to open episode 61 with this.
We have had this discussion on many occasions now about general politeness and dealing with people. And, as I was discussing with Barry one day, it isn't necessary, whilst we talk about on the phone and in meetings, it isn't about being on the phone or in a meeting. It's about talking to someone ever. So it doesn't matter whether you're on the phone or talking in person or leaving a message, or it just doesn't make any difference when or how the communication takes place. It should be civil and informative. So communication needs to be clear and polite, as we've said, for your message to get across. And if your message isn't getting across, you need to ask some questions about why that situation is occurring. And it's just a matter of staying calm while you feel that people are not taking in what you're saying in a manner that is done to themselves.
So, like we say on the show, or like we said on the show, please don't be rude. Otherwise, it is the end of the phone call. Simple as that. Here is Mark.
Yes. Interestingly, there's rude, aggressive, inappropriate behaviour. It does not mean not questioning or not asking for another explanation which you can understand, because you can't understand an explanation that's been given, or asking for the 15th explanation of why certain things have to be a certain way because you can't understand it. There's nothing wrong with that. Aggressive, rude, abusive behaviour is something totally different. Simply asking a question or expecting an intelligent answer to your question about what it is that you're inquiring, that is not being rude or aggressive. Not accepting an answer is, again, not being rude or aggressive if that answer can't be supported.
So, it is really important, guys, to stay civil and calm on the phone. Here, and let's give a demo, right? Like I was really civil and polite on the phone. Here's Mark.
Yes, you were very polite on the phone. it's still, to me, I would have asked a few more questions simply because I didn't feel like you necessarily got the answers that you needed, and so it didn't really satisfy what you called for. But absolutely, you were extremely polite and civil on the phone. So there are absolutely no issues with your behaviour, Barry.
So, ways of dealing with people on the phone. Okay, you can ask them to calm down, not be so rude on the phone, and ask them to call back when they are civil enough to let the other person explain why this is not happening or why that's not happening. That's all you've got to do. Okay, because a telephone call should be polite and civil. And have your questions ready as well, guys. Here's well, I won't hand over to Mark because I'll just take over the floor for a couple of minutes because it is really important to think about the questions you want to know and the answers that you want. So don't just babble on about certain things, okay? Stick to the facts, stick to the subject is what I'm looking for. And if you ask all your questions, you will get the answers. Here's Mark.
Yes, and if you find that in conversations you struggle to get your questions out for whatever reason, use email. Write down questions that you have as clearly as you can, so that there can't be any guesswork about what you are actually asking, and send it off politely in an email. It cannot be misconstrued as being rude.
And that's all you've got to do, because if you send an email politely, if you send an email politely, you will get what you need. Here's Mark.
Yeah, so sending an email is often far easier because there are no distractions. It's just a matter of simply writing out whatever questions that you have, making sure that when you reread them, they're extremely clear, and sending it off.
Well, we're going to take a break now and end the opening sequence of today's show. So we will see you very soon. We might even go and fill a couple of milk jugs. And I don't need to tell you where we're up to. So we will see you very soon.
See you soon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Chermside. I'm Barry Fair. Thank you for joining Mark and I today, and I have some news for you. This program will be finishing in February, and to tell us more about that, I'm joined by Mark English, the studio or outside the studio at Surfside. And here he is. Good afternoon, Mark. Welcome.
Afternoon, Barry. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to the show. And yes, Barry has very exciting news. The news itself isn't new, however, it does have a date attached to it. So, for those that tune in, you know that Barry's going to have to finish up the show, and he has finally been given a date. So he now knows that we're going to have to finish the show at the end of the first full week of February.
So please do continue to stay with us until that time, and this is episode 61, like we said. And guys, just so that we can show you here, this is a white bear. So I'm holding it up to you now. And if you don't know, the white now, every little bit helps. We will tell you about that in a moment. But my news about Sydney, well, it just got better today, and I am nearly jumping out of my chair. Here's Mark.
Yes, well, it's been a battle of wills to finally get someone to agree to a date, and well, you did force their hand this morning by providing a date, which of course was unsuitable to everyone, but as no one else had been offering one up, by you offering one up, they had to come back with an actual date. So now you have one. So well done on forcing the hand and getting commitment to an actual date.
So what we'd like to say is basically, if you want things done, guys, please address your issue in an adult-like way. Do not, Mark and I please do not raise your voice in stupid, irresponsible, inappropriate manner. Here he is.
Absolutely, Barry. It was a testament to self-control, because whilst you were frustrated, you never lost your cool when you were actually talking to anyone or communicating with them. And because of that, you got what you wanted in the end. And all you really wanted was an actual, real date that meant something to everyone. So we finally got a date, and hopefully everyone will just work towards that time frame.
So like we said, there's no good playing a blame game, guys, and being an absolute idiot, because where is it going to get you? Absolutely nowhere, guys. So please, if you don't like what's happening or what's being said, address your issues either via email or by phone, and if the person that you wish to speak to is not available, please leave them a message with a return message and a phone number so that he or she can get back to you. Here's Mark.
Absolutely. So just because you leave messages doesn't mean that you will hear back in your time frame, but I think you can set reasonable time frames, and expectations. And as I was saying to Barry, I am one for, once it reaches a certain point, I like to write everything, because at least everyone has the same written record then, and people's recollection is not relevant because it's there in black and white, whereas conversations are very he said, she said. So absolutely putting things on paper in a civil way will drive outcomes.
But if you just rude and aggressive guys, well, all we can say to that is that you will not be thankful. Here's Mark.
Well, you'll be essentially punished for it because calls will be stopped, work on projects will be stopped. That's why I think it's much safer not to leave things to interpretation, because the other thing I was saying to Barry is you can be perfectly civil, but because people don't like what they're hearing, take it as being rude, when in fact it definitely is not. It is just a statement of facts, and if other people are offended by the truth, that's up to them. But of course, if you write it down, no one can refute what's going on. And particularly in a situation where you're trying to achieve outcomes and there are multiple people involved, things are much better written down and spread amongst everyone who needs to know, rather than having a conversation with one person and hoping that it gets passed on by whomever to whomever. So much better to write and include all the people that need to know.
So like we say, please guys, it is nice to be nice, because if you're nice to people on the phone, guys, you will get the same response, and you know, things will be done much quicker than you would think. But if you're rude, well, like Mark said a couple of seconds ago, the project will be stopped, the phone call will be stopped, and you will be back at square one again. And I'm sure nobody wants that to happen. So I think all my patience has paid off, and this is a happy occasion. Now, on to how to donate to Lifeline. Now, it's always very important to make a donation to Lifeline. Here's Mark now.
So they provide a very valuable service to the community and are partly funded by donations. So if you see your way clear, I'm sure Lifeline will genuinely appreciate it.
And this is the bear which I've got here, so if I can just get Mark to hold him up. And there he is. And every little bit helps, guys. So the next life that Lifeline could save, it could be yours. Here's Mark.
Yep, so Lifeflight, as I said, provide a fantastic service, and you never know whether it's going to be you, one of your kids, one of your relatives, or just a friend. But they are routinely called out for emergencies. They routinely treat people and save lives, and hopefully it's never yours. But if you would like to help and save somebody else's, please donate.
Because it doesn't matter whether it's $5, $10, $5.60, every little bit helps. So dig deep, guys, and grab one of the $25 bags, because who knows? Like we just said, the next life that Lifelight could save, it could be yours, or even mine, or even Mark's. Because every little bit helps. And now, here's the closing segment. Thank you everybody for tuning in to our episode of Turnside today, and I will bring Triple O up. Okay, Triple O is only there for emergencies, guys. Do not, and we request, do not bring that number for trivial, stupid issues, because the wrong call that you make, guys, it could cost someone like me or Mark their life. Here's Mark to close our Turnside episode with that.
Thanks, Barry. And yes, we've spoken about this in the past. It is only for emergencies, and disruption potentially means they're not providing the service that they could on a timely basis, and so please don't disrupt them, and hopefully they can carry on doing their work and you never need them. But if you do, just remember 000, and then they'll put you through to the relevant emergency services that you need, and hopefully everything will go well for you.
And remember, be honest with 000. Give them the exact address of where you are, the nearest cross street, and your phone number. We have also spoken about this in the past, and we will continue this at the back of the studio when we wrap episode 61 up. Okay, so guys, before we do close, it's been an absolute privilege to be up here in Brisbane doing this show with you. Okay, because without a show, guys, we would not be here. But if you would like to write in, the address is 23 Monday Place, Brave Park, Queensland 4500, and my mobile is 0481 979 995. Here's Mark to close up the show with all that.
Well, we'll be back at the studio shortly, so I won't go into it too much. Take care, and we'll see you soon for the final wrap.
And we'll see you soon to wrap it all up and preview tomorrow's show. See you back there, guys.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Sadly, Out and About will continue. Will conclude in February. Good afternoon, I'm Barry Fisk. Welcome back to episode 61 here at Brave Park. Well, as you just heard today, this program that you are watching now will conclude. And joining me now to discuss this, here's Mark English. Good afternoon, and welcome back to the continuation of episode 61 here at Bray Park.
Thanks, Barry. Welcome, viewers. And obviously, for those that don't know, there is breaking news in episode 61. And breaking news is that Barry's been given a date, which he can now look forward to heading back to Sydney by. And even though it's not a one-day date, it is a very narrow date range. So from the 13th to the 17th of February, you'll be heading back to Sydney, and the show will come to an end just prior to that. So the good news for me is, of course, that means that we'll be doing out and about until February. So quite a few episodes to go, and I'm looking forward to the ones that are left, but I'm also extremely pleased for Barry that he's finally got his date and has something tangible to pin his hopes on and look forward to.
So just going back over a few rules, guys. Please, we know that you know that we brought this up many times on the show, and we bring it up again now. Like we just said at Termside today, please do not be an absolute fool on the phone and argue your point in a rude and arrogant way. Here is Mark to tell you about that again for those of you that have just tuned into our afternoon session here.
Thanks, Barry. Yes, we've been talking about manners while communicating, whether it be in conversation, telephone, meeting, emails, just anything where you're communicating with a purpose. And hopefully you've been taking heed of our suggestions that there's no place for abuse, rudeness, inappropriate language, personal taunts. In a world of trying to get things done, there's only clear communication. And, if at times when you're having a discussion with someone and you don't understand what's being said, just politely stop them and say, I don't understand. Can you find a different way to explain it? Can you use different language? Something that's different, rather than just repeating what you already don't understand. So just ask them nicely to repeat it using different language because you don't understand what they're trying to say.
So just remember, guys, it's not about being polite. You should always be polite in the first place. Here's Mark.
We expect that through all interactions that people will be polite. Having said that, one of the downsides that we have referred to many times, many times, is that if you become abusive, rude, or inappropriate, then the person on the other end of the conversation has every right to just shut it down and walk away. So if you want to achieve an outcome from your interaction, then you need to keep it civil and work on trying to be understood.
So please take into consideration, guys, how important it is to stay civil. Here's Mark.
Yeah, so it's hard to add to that because we have discussed the downside of not being civil so often, and the upside being that hopefully you achieve what you want to achieve. And I'm not sure that I can add to that.
So enough of this now. So just before we close today's episode, we hope that you've enjoyed our series of Out and About. Here's Mark.
It's been a great experience, and I hope you have enjoyed it. And as we were just saying, you will get to enjoy it for a few more months yet.
Two and a half.
2.5 months. So between the 13th and 17th of February is the date range for Barry heading back to Sydney. So we have until the week before that, I suspect.
So it's time for us to bid you farewell now, but before we do, coming up tomorrow, we've got a cook-up. Here's Mark.
Yes, a bit of a celebratory cook-up. So we'll be just doing some cooking at home rather than heading out, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you another show, but it'll be a studio-based show with a cooking segment.
So we'll see you tomorrow, and you have a good evening, and we'll catch you then. Until then, as Don Burke used to say, hooroo.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.